Geoffrey Schofield is one of my favorite hypertrophy influencers out there, and if you don't know who he is, he recently released an ebook, Resurrecting Your Gains. If you are an intermediate or advanced and you are interested in hypertrophy, if you are stuck at a plateau or your progress has slowed down, then this is the book for you. In this video, I will break it down point by point and share you my thoughts on his book and tell you whether it is worth your time or not. I have been busy with a lot of things lately, and one of them is I am also writing an ebook. I did update this on my Instagram, and this is the reason why I haven't been uploading any videos for the past few months. So follow me on Instagram if you haven't. In this video, I will compare Geoffrey's book with mine, which isn't out yet, and we'll see where we both agree and disagree. My book goes across a lot of topics, but just for the sake of this video and to make this comparison fair, we will just stick with the topics related to intermediate and advanced people. Starting off with mountain climbing. Yes, Geoffrey compares training with climbing the Kilimanjaro. In the beginning, it is very easy. The air is clean, the snow is very thin, you can just simply start climbing upwards. But as you get near the top, the process becomes a lot more difficult. The air starts to become thinner, the snow becomes thicker, and it is very difficult to just maintain your position. If you let go, you will come tumbling right down. I really love this analogy, and I think it is bang on explaining what training looks like to a beginner. The next section is on are you really plateaued? And I appreciate that Geoffrey asked this question. See, most people believe that slow progress is a plateau. They don't realize that once you are out of the beginner stage, things are not going to be that simple anymore. Muscle building will slow down, and that is a good thing. Your body does not want you to put on a lot of muscle. Imagine if you constantly kept growing, you had 25-inch arms. You won't be able to eat your food or wipe your face or your body stops the process of muscle building with an hormone called myostatin. The animals that don't have myostatin just keep growing, and it has a lot of adverse effect on their health. This does not mean that muscle building is unhealthy. Some people will use this as an excuse to not train. They were not going to train anyways, but I don't want them to put the blame on me. Muscle building is healthy and perfectly fine as long as you are not surpassing your body's limit through PEDs. The next chapter is on expectations, experience, and effort. Here, Geoffrey mentions that focus on the process and not on the results. I like that. Many people ask the question that how much muscle can I build in an X amount of time, or how long will it take to build an X amount of muscle. This is not a good approach. It is like asking, how do I earn $1 million in a year without having any plan or an idea how you are going to do it. Focus on the process and not on the results. What I praise is that think bigger. Focus on being able to move like a 25-year-old when you are at the age of 80. That is more important than building an X amount of muscle and impressing people. This ebook also has a really good table that will help you find out if you are a beginner, intermediate, or advanced. It is very effective and give you a realistic idea of where you stand. This ebook lists multiple methods of tracking progress. Geoffrey mentions the pros and cons and the nuance in them. He also tells how you can measure accurately. These are all on point. I will not spoil them here, and these are very helpful. The next chapter is on recovery. Geoffrey starts with sleep. Sleep has to be the most underrated factor in fitness. The reason being that it is not that really clickbaity, and it is probably one of the biggest factors that will affect your muscle gains. But most people seem to ignore it. It is not because they are busy with their work or something. It is just that they are binge watching web series at the night or playing video games. This is one of the most unhealthiest things you can do to your body, and it is very sad how this has become normalized in today's society. The OTT platforms are not going to tell you how unhealthy it is because they are earning money from it. They simply do not care about your health. If you are serious about making gains, stop binge watching web series at night and get some sleep. Most of the content on these OTT platforms is ultra woke garbage, and it is not worth your valuable sleep. Geoffrey mentions how the lack of sleep will also affect your mind. Most people do not know about this, but when you get less sleep, it affects your ability to focus, concentrate, think creatively, or your reaction speed also decreases. There are a lot of things that happen. In my ebook, I have a dedicated chapter on sleep because it is that important. I explain in detail why sleep is important and share some practical advice to improve your sleep quality. I would have liked it if Geoffrey had mentioned some tips in his book as well. Even some small pointers like turn off the blue light or make the room dark would have been helpful. Then Geoffrey goes into other stuff like stress management. I really like that Geoffrey mentions that how you react to things matters. All fear is self-imposed. I absolutely love this statement. Then Geoffrey also goes into how hormones play a very minimal role in muscle building. This is also correct, but some people tend to exaggerate it to sell some products that are useless. The next chapter is on diet. It is not very comprehensive, but to the point. Geoffrey mentions the importance of micronutrients, which is highly ignored in the fitness industry right now. Then he also advocates bulking and cutting, which is something I also agree with. Some people may not like that, but okay. While cutting, he advises you to lose all the fat in one go. This is okay if considering that this advice is for intermediate and advanced lifters who rarely bulk up above 25% body fat. But if you are like 30 or 40% body fat, then you cannot lose all the fat in one go because the chances of rebounding are very high. You have to break it down into multiple phases. You have to take maintenance phases between them. I have explained this in much more detail in my ebook and have a detailed guide on how to program for fat loss. But this is beyond the scope of Geoffrey's book. The next section is on programming. This is like the pulses and potatoes of this book. It goes into all of the stuff like sets, volume, reps, frequency, training splits, like all of the basic stuff. Everything is on point. Geoffrey mentions some methods of progressions and variables you can manipulate. Geoffrey also has a dedicated section on periodization, but in the end he mentions that it is not really helpful for most people as you are not planning to peak for some event, and that is also the same case with me. I have written a very detailed section on periodization. It goes into a lot more detail like why athletes need to train like this, how you can periodize, what are the progressions you can use while periodization. And I am also planning to delete that section because it is simply not needed for most people. But it is a pain to delete it because I have spent hours writing it down. So you tell me, are you interested in knowing about periodization? If yes, then I might keep the section untouched. Then Jeff goes into exercise swapping. This is very crucial for avoiding overuse injuries. He mentions the pros and cons of swapping too early or swapping too late. I really like how he mentions the pros and cons of everything in this book. It just tells you that there is nothing carved on rock here. Everything has a nuance to it. Jeff shares his training log and how he used to progress. He also shares his diet plan. So, if you are a die-hard fan of Jeff, then this is the reason for you to buy this book. The reason I believe that this is very helpful is that it gives you an idea of how to think while programming. Then Jeff also mentions that you do not have to train your entire body. If you want to skip legs, you can do that. If you want to skip your calves, you are free to do that. And if you are really training for yourself and not for impressing others, you should have no problem in skipping certain muscles. Then Jeff goes into the good old debate on whether progressive overload is the cause or effect of muscle building. Then Jeff also mentions the old helicopter game. I remember playing this game and it just shows how old we both have become. Most of today's kids won't even know what I'm talking about. How about jetpack joyride? If you push too hard, you crash into the ceiling. If you do nothing, you crash on the ground. All you have to do is stay in the middle. That is how progress is made. The next section is on strength versus size. Geoffrey mentions how the compound movements are not enough for targeting all of the muscles in the body, especially something like the long head of the triceps, the neck, forearms, calves, or the abs. I feel so happy that finally there is someone who agrees with me that the compounds are not enough for the abs. You have to train them directly for maximum muscle growth. I'm just tired of hearing the statement that abs are made in the kitchen over and over again. Like, there are people who vouch for it. They believe that isolation exercises are useless, even when they are like 12 to 15% body fat and they do not have abs. Just training the compound movements is not good enough for bodybuilding or hypertrophy. Even basement bodybuilding would agree with this. This also comes into play when people say that I have maxed out my genetic potential. Did you? Did you really do that? What about your calves, your forearms, your traps, your necks, your abs? Did you really max them out? Just see how arm wrestlers train their forearms and you realize you never trained your forearms optimally. Then the next section is on tracker lifts. Tracker lifts are something that you use to track your hypertrophy. If you get stronger on tracker lifts, it means that you gained some size. It is something that requires very little technical proficiency and also something that you cannot cheat on or manipulate. Let's say you choose the bench press as your tracker lift for your chest. You can easily get stronger on the bench press by manipulating your form even when there is no change in your chest size. So the bench press is not a good tracker lift. On the other hand, if you choose something like the machine press, here the chances of manipulation are quite low. If you get stronger on the machine press, it means that your chest has grown in size. Jeff mentions effective tracker lift for all the body parts. On your lifting journey, you will have some bad workouts. Some days you simply cannot lift that much weight. Some days you just get tired easily. This is normal. Jeff says that all workouts cannot be good or great. If all workouts are great, then that will become the average. If all workouts are superb, then none of them are. You need to have bad workouts for the great workouts to be great. Overall, Resurrecting Your Gains is a really solid choice if you want to break plateaus and make some serious progress. And it is not boring by any means. It has a conversational tone and a lot of humor in it. You will not get bored while reading it. I have put the link to the book in the description. It is currently priced at $20 and it is definitely worth the money. You can use my coupon code Brawny and get a 0% discount. Compared to my ebook goes across a lot more topics than this and it is much more comprehensive. It is going to be the ultimate guides for the people who want to step into fitness and for the people who have been training for years and want to take it to the next level. Resurrecting Your Gains is very niche specific. It is only for intermediate and advanced people and it is good at what it does. If you fit into that category, then definitely read this book or you can listen to it. Jeff also has recorded an audiobook with this and you do not have to pay anything extra for it. When you download this ebook, you will get a zip file that contains both the ebook and the audiobook. To be honest with you, I did not listen to the audiobook because it is more than 6 hours long and I finished reading the ebook in like 2 hours. Still, I listened to some sections in between and it is good. There's some added humor as well in it and overall, it is worth the money you put in. I would give Resurrecting Your Gains a solid 8 out of 10. I would have given it a 9. No book is worth a perfect 10, but the reason I'm not giving it a 9 is because the formatting and design of this book is okay at its best. What Jeff did was that he wrote this book on the Word document and then exported it as a PDF. Because of this, there are many problems in the design. First of all, there are no page numbers. Yes, I do understand that most of the PDF readers do provide page numbers with them, but it would have been great if Jeff had inserted them from his end. Talking about the design, the less I talk about it, the better. And finally, the front cover is just terrible. Sorry to say it, but it feels like one of his YouTube thumbnails. If you are putting in years of effort to write an ebook, do not let it go waste due to a bad front cover. If you are a Geoffrey Schofield fan and you have been following him for a long time, you will buy his ebook because you know the value he provides. But from a third person perspective, he will judge the book by its cover. In today's time, even a free software like Canva provides some great editing tools and you can create a much better front cover in less than an hour. If you want updates about my ebook and my future YouTube videos, do follow me on Instagram. You can subscribe to me on YouTube as well, but due to some reason, YouTube is not sending notifications to even my most loyal subscribers. So do follow me on Instagram and like some of my posts so that the algorithm knows that you are interested in my content. That is all for this video. Like, share, subscribe and do not forget to hit that bell icon.